You're tasked with controlling access from NYCNet to Azure resources connected via private endpoints, while adhering to organization-wide security policies. What is the initial action required to support this objective? Option A. Configure a security admin policy within Azure Virtual Network Manager. Option B. Establish a network group in Azure Virtual Network Manager using subnet as the member type. Option C. Associate a custom route table with subnet PE. Option D. Activate a network policy for subnet PE. Okay, so let's start with understanding the question. We're trying to control access from NYCNet to Azure resources connected via private endpoints while adhering to organization-wide security policies. We also need to make sure we do this while adhering to the organization's overall security policies. The key feature here is private endpoints. With private endpoints, we connect Azure resources to the local network and control traffic through subnets and NSGs. Now, the first step to achieve this is using Azure Virtual Network Manager to create a security admin policy. This lets us set central security policies for multiple virtual networks and tie them to private endpoints. So, option A, configure a security admin policy within Azure Virtual Network Manager, is the correct answer. Now, let's take a look at the other options. Option B, establish a network group in Azure Virtual Network Manager using subnet as the member type. Well, we do need to establish network groups. The security admin policy setting is the first step, and it also supports enforcement policy for private endpoints. So while that would be a subsequent step, it's not the initial action.
This question focuses on the requirements for governing traffic destined for private endpoints. Specifically, it asks how to ensure that network security constructs, such as route tables or security group rules, are actually applied to that traffic. Understanding the architecture of private endpoints in Azure and their interaction with subnet-level security settings is the core concept needed to determine the correct configuration step.
I believe the correct answer is option D, activate a network policy for subnet PE. To manage connectivity securely using private endpoints, you must enable private endpoint network policies on the subnet hosting the endpoints. This step is critical because it allows the system to apply network security group rules and user-defined routes to the private endpoint traffic. If this policy is not activated, any security rules or route tables associated with the subnet are simply ignored for that specific traffic. Regarding the other options, Azure Virtual Network Manager configurations in options A and B are for high-level governance, not the foundational requirement for these endpoints. Option C is ineffective on its own because without the underlying network policy enabled, the route table will not be applied to the private endpoint traffic.